Hi, Tiffany. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good. I'm really glad to see you again for this session.
It's good to see you too.
Yeah, good. So I know we're limited for time this week, and I apologize for that, but I want to talk a little bit about what we've been going through. I know the last time that we talked about some of the changes that you've noticed since the fire in your like day to day, your feelings, emotions, and stuff like that. Things that you listed maybe were some difficulty sleeping, right? Thoughts maybe a little bit about what happened.
hmm
Okay, avoiding certain reminders, feeling a little bit anxious, stuff, and maybe a little bit of guilt. I know you had said a little bit about your coworkers who maybe weren't as fortunate or got injured or things like that, right?
Yeah.
Before. Okay. So before we get in and into anything today, how have things been since we talked last? I know we did the 5 question survey. I do want to tell you, and I know I mentioned it at the end of last time a little bit, that you tested right up there where I thought you would for some PTSD. So how are you feeling since we talked last?
About the same.
Okay. Okay. And that makes total sense, really, based on, the PTSD, what we've been talking about. Today I would like to, if you're open for it, to show you kind of a little bit of a technique that might help you when the thoughts or memories and things like that kind of start to feel a little bit overwhelming. I want to assure you that we don't have to go into any details about the fire. So I want to let you know that right off the bat, it won't be anything triggering that way. But I want to know, is that going to be okay if we try maybe some grounding techniques?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay, great. So, when someone experiences something like this, something that could be traumatic, sometimes the brain and the body react to this as like react to things in our day to day that might cause a reminder, per se, Tiffany. Okay, as though like the danger is happening, or event is might happen again, or and even the brain is crazy and it can play tricks on you even though you're currently safe, right? You might be home, you might be doing something completely different. Those triggers can take you back to the moment, okay? And grounding is a really good way that we can help our brain recognize the difference between what happened then and the reality of now, okay?
hmm
So we can I want to try, it's a very simple and quick grounding thing. It's called the 5 4 3 2 1 grounding exercise. I've used this with other people that I help work with, and I can I can see sometimes where it really helps. So if you're open to it, I would love to try it really just briefly here if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, perfect. So what I want you to do first is I want you to, I know you're sitting, make sure both feet are on the floor and in a comfortable position, that they're flat on the floor, and you're taking a moment in your chair or whatever you're sitting in just to really sink into that and feel that it's supporting you. All right. Now I want you to tell me 3 things that you can see in your room.
Um, a dresser, laundry basket, and a door.
That's perfect. Great job. Now, what are 2 things that you can physically feel right now on your body?
My shirt and my headband.
Okay, great. And can you give me an example of maybe one thing that you hear right now?
I hear the AC running.
Okay, great. That's perfect. See, so it's very simple. It's the idea, Tiffany, of counting backwards in that 5 4 3 2 1. We just did something simple today because of limited time and went from 3 to 1. Tell me what did you notice about your body during this exercise or right now even?
I feel a bit more relaxed.
Okay, that's really good. That's really good. So I want you to take note of that relaxation or calmness that you might be feeling, and I want you to use that. I want you to use that in those moments when you're starting to feel overwhelmed, when the anxiety is starting to kick up. Maybe if you wake up in the middle of the night sometime, when something reminds you of that event, I want you to notice yourself and where you are and what's around you and the safe and supportive environment that you're in. And sometimes that can help the brain process that they're not in that flight or fight. Okay. So that can be a really good coping strategy. All right. How do you feel about that? Do you feel that that's something that you could do?
Yeah, that's something I could do.
Okay. So that's one intervention that I want to show you. That's just one. Now I want to try another short one. And you can kind of use these as a balancing thing, right? Like maybe I'm feeling that I can do this right now. It's quick, it's to the point, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm good. And maybe you need something else at a different point. So I always like to give my clients a couple choices, right? Because what works
Mhm.
for some might not work for the others. So I know we've talked about the guilt that you have a little bit and that causes the anxiety. Um, and sometimes after trauma, our minds try to make sense of something that didn't really make sense of the time, right? At the time. We can start believing that, because we didn't get hurt or we made it out just fine, we weren't injured or we weren't super affected on the outside. We sometimes maybe would have done something differently to help our friends, okay?
Mhm.
When you think about your coworkers, Tiffany, and them, what is the thought that comes the most strongly to you?
Um, just that, like, they had it a lot worse than I did, and I don't understand why.
Okay. Are you okay if maybe that we look through that a little bit together?
Yeah,
Okay. I would love to encourage and put out there that this isn't right or wrong. We oftentimes, especially when we have PTSD symptoms, can feel that there should have been more, or how come this didn't happen to me? And I want you to know that that guilt sometimes can feel connected to the fact that you had not, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you were very healthy still, and you were lucky that nothing bigger happened in the grand scheme of things, or you escaped, right? Um, and you weren't hurt. So, I mean, can we agree that things could have maybe been not feeling wise, but physically maybe a little bit more drastic, right? Like what they had.
yeah.
Okay. So if I know you're feeling these things, like how come this happened, but I want to pose a question to you, okay? If one of your coworkers came to you and said, "Hey, Tiffany, I'm so glad I escaped the fire, but I should have gone back. I shouldn't be so lucky, and I should have helped everyone." What would you say to that person?
Well, it would be dangerous to go back in and try to help people.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the
Yep.
fire department's for.
Right. Right. And so I think that's interesting and very strong of you that you're able to show that person compassion, right? And you're able to help them recognize that they were responding to an emergency, right? Like you're saying that this is what the trained people should go back in, right? Like they're the ones who should be saving people, not you. And what makes it harder to extend that same understanding to yourself. I want you to start thinking about that, like giving yourself a little bit of grace that you would have given somebody else. Okay. So if you're okay and you're still with me on this, I want to try and rephrase this with you. I'm not saying it's going to feel comfortable, all right, out of the gate. But I feel like sometimes if we can start making room in our brain, if it's kind of going everywhere for these thoughts, the more you do and make room, the more comfortable it might feel. Okay. So could we try developing a statement that acknowledges what happened without placing responsibility on you or something that you could control. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah.
Is there anything that I mean, I have an option, but I want to hear from you. Is there a statement that you think that you could come up with that might acknowledge what happened, but not place responsibility?
Um, like something like it's not my fault that people got hurt.
Yeah. Or I acknowledge what happened. I wish my coworkers weren't hurt, maybe, right? Like
Mhm.
that they weren't hurt, but it wasn't my responsibility at the time of the fire, right? Getting myself to safety was the appropriate response. What you did was correct. So the idea, like you're saying, it wasn't my fault. I responded in the appropriate way to an emergency. And I wish my coworkers weren't hurt, but that's not something I need to carry. How does that statement feel compared to I really should have done more, or I wish this didn't happen?
It feels a lot better.
Okay, that's good. And you don't have to fully believe it today. And that's what, this takes time. And like I said, we're practicing making room for these other interpretations, these other feelings. Okay. So if you walk away from today's session, like, I don't fully believe that, that's understandable, right? Something I've noticed about our work together is that you've been really willing to talk to me about some of these things that significantly are upsetting you and affecting your life, whether it's your daily life, whether it's your sleep pattern, things like that. And I want to commend you because I really want to remind you that that is a strength. And I really want you to know how strong you're being right now.
I appreciate that.
Good, good. So we've gone through a lot today, two big different things. So rephrasing our statements, right? And a grounding. Between now and our next session, I'd really like you to practice maybe one or the other, okay? And kind of take note of what you feel in those moments, what's becoming activated in your body, what's not becoming activated. I'd also like you to try and notice when the thought of I wish this didn't happen, or I should have done more starts to pop up in your day-to-day life. Okay. You can quickly write it down. You could voice to text when it's happening. But I want to kind of look at when that intrusive thought is popping into your brain a little bit. Um, and I want to know when you're in that moment, what does it feel like when you try to rephrase the statement? Okay. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Good, good. Are there any questions about anything that we've done today? I want you to walk away feeling, that you understand them and why we're doing them. And are there any questions for me? I don't want you to leave any of our sessions wondering what the heck is she doing?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I want to remind you that I really think you're courageous and strong and you're doing a great job. Okay. Keep up the good work. Like I said, in between now and the next session, if you could practice those techniques, that would be really great. If you need me for anything, feel free to reach out. Okay.
Okay.
All right, great. I will reach out to set up the next appointment, but until then, if you need me, you know how to get a hold of me. All right.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Tiffany.
You're welcome.
Bye bye.
Bye.